guys are quite unhappy about
Yeah,
what he treats, but we have no allegation to arrest him for. Okay? I understand that that's not something you want to hear, but unfortunately, there's only so much we can do, and obviously, she's the main person there, and she doesn't want to press charges.
She does want to press charges. She just said to me. She just. What's the alleged offence? Sorry, everybody. Sorry, could you make some space, please? By entering someone's house, come through. That's a lot more than trespassing. So if I went into someone's house, you'd do me for burglary. If there's suspicion of burglary, yes. Sorry, buddy. Trying to make some. They're going to release it. It's starting. Release it. We've let him go about his business. But then when you enter people's houses, that's a different story.
A disturbing incident in London has reignited national outrage over policing priorities, immigration enforcement, and the perceived erosion of public safety. According to local reports, an illegal migrant allegedly broke into a private residence, only for the Metropolitan Police to decline making an arrest. The decision has left the homeowner furious and sparked a fresh wave of criticism against both law enforcement and government immigration policy.
This man in this vehicle has just entered a lady's property without her consent, and these officers have said it's not an offence. They're letting him go. They're letting him go. Officer, how is that? How is that not an offence? How is it not an offence entering someone's house?
That poor lady.
Regardless, she didn't want him in the house.
Is alarm fear and discretion?
lady, bro.
Is alarm fear and discretion? Is she not alarmed even in fear?
You're letting him go.
Let him go. He's allowed to do that.
He's
allowed to do that. He does it again. When he does it, he got arrested. He does it again.
Regardless, he's done it once. He don't need to do it again. He doesn't need to do it again.
We're not walking over to.
You know you're going to cause a war on the streets. You know you're causing a war on the streets,
If I
right?
hands in my pocket, I'm not going to dig nothing. I can walk in their house and say, look,
You're causing a war on the streets. How are you letting him go?
what's your name? I'm going to walk in someone's house and not say nothing. And I'll get all their colour numbers.
You have said that it isn't an offence entering a property. Can I have your name and number, please? Yeah, go for it. Do you think it's not an offence entering a property? Regardless, if I entered your house with your wife and kids in there, are you going to be angry and want to get me arrested?
Be angry, but you have to prove intent for it to be burglary. Yeah?
I had done the same thing when I was 16. I got arrested for attempted burglary.
So they would have had to prove your
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. All I done was walked in the house. I got done for attempted burglary, and I was in the middle of an argument. Mate, you're a fucking disgrace, an absolute disgrace. You're a disgrace to the UK government, to the UK people. You're a disgrace. All of you are a disgrace. Absolute disgrace.
You're going to end up
Absolute disgrace.
You're going to end up licking her.
Witnesses say the break-in occurred in broad daylight. The suspect, reportedly with no legal right to remain in the UK, was confronted by the homeowner and later identified to police. However, officers allegedly told the victim that due to current guidelines and complexities surrounding immigration status, no immediate arrest would be made. The individual was instead released at the scene. The case has been met with disbelief online, with critics arguing that this incident exemplifies a two-tier justice system, one in which law-abiding citizens are held to stricter standards than those in the country illegally. For many, it's a stark reminder of what they see as the government's unwillingness to defend its own citizens while bending over backwards to avoid confrontation with politically sensitive cases. The Metropolitan Police, already facing trust deficits after a series of high-profile scandals, now finds itself at the center of a wider debate. Should the public be expected to rely solely on institutions that many feel are unwilling or unable to protect them? Government officials have so far been tight-lipped on the incident. The Home Office declined to comment on this specific case, but reiterated its commitment to removing individuals with no legal right to remain in the country, a pledge many view as empty rhetoric given the backlog of deportations and the number of foreign nationals still free despite court orders. The political implications are hard to ignore. In a pre-election climate already dominated by debates over migration and law enforcement, this incident serves as a lightning rod for populist anger. Parties on the right are seizing the moment to argue that the current leadership has abandoned its primary duty to protect its citizens. For now, the homeowner at the center of the case is left with no closure, and the alleged intruder remains free. But the wider fallout may be just beginning. If cases like this continue to surface, Britain could be headed toward a much deeper reckoning over how far people are willing to go when the state, in their eyes, simply refuses to act.
I think it's a bit too long. You don't need to go. And I just wanted to get on with it. I thought the rate of learning outside of university, practically working, is much higher than at university.
Yeah, so did you see anything about the debt? Is some of the debt turning you off from going? Because my little brother's similar age as you, he went to university, and I'm looking, and he's telling me about how much debt he's going. It's like £70,000, £80,000.
Yeah, that's definitely a huge factor.
Yeah.
That's definitely a huge factor. But I think it's also just getting on with it and just accelerating my life.
And what have you gone and done instead? What did you choose to do differently?
So I left university, went to a coding boot camp called Lewagen, and I just learned how to code, and then joined an AI startup. And I've been at a few ever since.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So hang on. So you've taught yourself. Do you have any programming? So for the audience don't know, there's this software programming. You code things on a computer, very technical, like what people will see in the movies. And did you have any coding skills before you joined this boot camp?
Not really. Not really. I had mathematical skills, I guess, which is you can they're pretty similar, pretty logical, but no coding.
And final question, I would love to bring in Linda and Tessa on this as well. But are you making money?
I'm making.
You have to tell us how much you're making, Bio. It might make us all a bit depressed, actually.
I'm making money.
You're making money. Hey, there's a smile on his face. I assume he's doing very, very well.
Yeah.
Okay, Tessa, what would you like to ask Digby?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Digby. I want to understand what your university prospects would have been. You say you were good at maths. Did you have a maths A level?
Yeah, I did maths, further maths, physics, and graphics.
Right. So and you were a talented student, I'm presuming, sort of A/B student.
Yeah, it's.
So the world was potentially your oyster, and you took a specific path.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well done. And I think that's entrepreneurial, and Digby clearly will go far. The other thing I would say is you don't have to lean into university aged 18. I did 3 degrees in the end, and 2 of them I did, one in my 30s and one in my 40s. So and I've got to say, for me, it worked. Becoming a doctor, literally to be honest, the earnings weren't great, so it's a bit like saying Chad's economy, doubled. but my earnings doubled when I became a doctor. So in terms of the credibility, but I work in an arts environment where there's quite a lot of blagging. But the one thing I do feel sad about when I crunch the numbers on today are the drop away from what I call the humanities. So STEM's seen a bump because people are worried about the debt. They need to know they've got a real skill, a vocational skill they can immediately buy in. But if we don't have a cohort generation who's studying humanities, that's a tragedy on one level.